There's no other market research podcast that earned recognition in 2019 and followed it up in 2020 as being named one of the best in the marketing research field. And we want to welcome you to the podcast called Research Business Daily Report, which has the added distinction as the research industry's only daily research video report. So enjoy what we present to you both today and in coming days. And if you do like what you see, we hope that you'll simply lend your support for our Research News video series. In fact, you can see on the screen right now where to go if you'd like to lend that support. And we'll tell you more if you stick around to the end of today's report. I'm Bob Lederer, now in my 26th year as the respected voice in market research. Our guest commentator for this week, Paige Velasquez Budde, the partner and chief executive officer at Zilker Media, winds up with her fourth of four commentaries today. Each of them have spotlighted specific content that a marketer can use to build its following, engagement, and of course, its business in these still challenging COVID times. Today, Budde goes in depth about relationship-driven content, which she asserts is a most logical method for companies to choose in order to stand out in this still COVID era. And it specifically also goes to reaching out to these companies' 25 most important industry relationships. Think about who those people are in your case. Velasquez Budde points out that interviews are one of the most common forms of this content. But let me allow Paige to present for herself. Paige?
So now that we've addressed you-driven content and news-driven content in your micro media strategy, it's time for us to focus on the final pillar, and that is what we call relationship-driven content. Now, for many of you, that might be the most important content category and even the most fun. I have to admit that I love to use content marketing as an excuse to reach out to somebody that I want to build a relationship with. If I were to ask you what are the 25 most important relationships in your industry for you to build out this year, my guess is most of you could give me those 25 names quickly. I maintain that in order to stand out in the still COVID era, use your content strategy as an excuse to reach out and involve those 25 people or whatever number of relationships in your content strategy. Now, typical media outlets do feature interviews in their content all the time. So you should be doing the exact same thing for your brand. And by that, I mean you can start with an interview series. Include leaders in your space or potential customers or partners in this interview series. And my proposed interview series can take place either in written form, on your blog, or even run live on social media. And then as a third option, you can also appear in podcast or video cast, just like we're doing here. An interview series ultimately flips what salespeople have done for the past several years, which is sending a cold email or asking to meet for lunch or coffee. An interview series really highlights those individuals to more of a peer-to-peer versus sales to prospect conversation on your platform. And that interview series not only provides content that builds relationships with key individuals, but it also provides informative and entertaining content to your audience. And once that interview is live, most people that you've interviewed will want to share that interview with their networks, ultimately broadening your reach. And in my opinion, the best thing that can happen from an interview series is that you build and form key relationships for your brand while simultaneously growing your customer base. And here's what's the key. Remember that whatever content you put out for your brand, it needs to look for opportunities to include others. This not only accelerates the speed of trust for your brand, but also gives you a bridge to build those important relationships moving forward.
That wraps up this Research Business Daily Report, not only for today, but for this week. We thank each and every one of you for any time that you view our RBDR video. Each day, as you know, we're going to bring you a news item, an insight, or a commentary that we are confident you're not going to find anywhere else. And after you digest the videos, we hope that you will appreciate us sufficiently in order to consider becoming an RBDR Patreon supporter. Please visit RBDR's exclusive crowdfunding platform today if you'd like to become one of those Patreon supporters. It's at patreon.com/RBDR. We hope that you have good research day and that as this week comes to an end, that it has been a particularly good one for you, both in terms of revenue, profit, and really good research. Enjoy this coming weekend, and we'll see you back here with us on Monday, okay? Until then, please stay safe.